Record. Okay, we're recording.
Oh, jeez.
We're live.
I'm scared.
It's okay. It always is a little bit awkward at the beginning, so you just kind of go with it, and you keep going until you figure it out. Kind of like this project, actually. Okay. Welcome to... Sorry if we seem a little distracted. My cat is being a jerk. Literally always. Man. So, welcome to our first/last possibly podcast. So, yay. This is a thing.
You were kind of right about that last part, saying that it was our last, because technically we don't have enough time to make another one.
Yeah.
Before school ends, so.
Yeah, I mean, we don't got much time left. This is our last week.
Woo.
Okay, so let's get around into the important stuff. So in our last text post, we talked about how we were going to focus a bit more on people seeing homosexuality as a mental illness, which, let me preface this by saying, homosexuality is not a problem to be solved. It's not a thing that you just white out over.
It's something that we had to adjust to. I mean, it was kind of reminds me of just the racial inequality. Back in, what was it,
every time period ever.
Yeah. There's no specific time. It's just a continuing problem.
It's just a thing that has become the norm because we allow it to be the norm. Okay, so one of the interesting things that we found is that in states with employment non-discrimination protection that includes transgender individuals, there was a significantly lower percentage of transgender veterans with mood disorders and self-harm than in states without these protections. So I found that really interesting because it shows that we're not just doing it for the heck of it. We're not just trying to get these laws passed just to make conservatives angry. We're trying to do this for the health of the community, if that makes any type of sense. Does it?
Yeah, it makes a little bit of sense. I mean, even that just boggles my mind a little bit. I mean, I thought there would be, a little bit more protection, even though they say they're not supposed to be discriminated, but you are. It's kind of, it's hurtful, but I can maybe see why. I mean, especially if it was in a state where a lot of people were against it, but yet the state's allowing it. That's just
and didn't
really confusing.
Didn't you find that in Virginia, it's a lot more open for LGBT veterans, but quote, a person can be legally fired or refused employment by any employer in Virginia on the basis of that person's real or perceived sexual orientation.
Does that raise any red flags here?
Yeah, perceived. Just if you look gay, get out. Just, oh my gosh, it feeds into the stereotypes of looking gay, of sounding gay, of just...
Well, shoot, that was part of the rap, right? I mean, you were talking about my neighbor looking gay,
Yeah, what? Just you can't assume anything. Your cashier could be gay. Your boss could be gay. It's hilarious how many people think that when they have these discussions, there aren't people around who are affected.
You literally just need to see, the PSA thing.
Update, my cat is evil. Update, my cat is evil.
There's no bloodshed, I promise.
I told you when you came in, bro.
I was being cautious. I was like, okay, but
yeah,
I see how it is.
She's evil.
No kidding.
Ah, man.
So that's
politics.
Woohoo!
Oh God.
What is like? So I kind of know where Hillary Clinton stands, but do we know where Donald Trump stands?
He actually used to be a Democrat.
Really?
Yeah, like in a statement way back when, he said that if he were to run for president, he would be a Republican because they're, quote, the easiest to fool. And more importantly, he has on multiple times stated that he is pro-abortion, or pro-choice at least. Sorry for the misuse of words there.
It's okay.
Yeah, but just like, let's stay away from Donald Trump. I'll say he just terrible person, just on the whole. Let's see. Back to things. Man, this is incredibly special to me. But we found a lot of information on bisexual people, more than I was expecting, really. But the statistics weren't really that promising, so I don't know where that leaves me. Just like, bisexual men and women have reported higher rates of anxiety, depression, and negative effects in comparison to monosexuals, people who are attracted to one gender.
So, just a question I have to ask. So it's like, why would they all of a sudden just have a whole bunch of depression or anxiety? Is it because they're going of their own kind?
Well, what they found was like that a lot of this is because they either experience or they perceive that other people aren't accepting them, which in the rates of intimate partner violence, that they're much higher among bisexual women, especially young bisexual women, which isn't very promising for me.
Doesn't open up a nice window.
Than for monosexual people. And it's just like, wow, that's really telling, because context is everything. Just in the social context, bisexuals are sometimes perceived as like indecisive or needy or greedy, etc., etc. Just like,
well, they're people too. I mean, I would hope that they would ask for things, but I'm not sure about
just like not having your attraction influenced by gender isn't really. It's not being greedy. I'm not gonna steal your boyfriend, just or girlfriend or whatever. I don't know. Just let's see, what else did we find? Bisexual women reported higher rates of several mood and anxiety disorders than monosexual women, and higher rates of suicidality and self-harm than heterosexual women.
Yeah, which doesn't look promising.
It just, gosh, it's a terrible thing.
Yeah, no.
And we can look at these things and moan and groan about how awful it is, but nothing changes until we change the perception of how people like me are seen. Just like, nothing changes until we start making some noise, which it's not really in favor for some people. Like, some people either can't because of their situation, or they just think that it would be better to stay put. But the record shows with rights that every time noise is made, things change.
I mean, unless you're, well, sure, if in like America, but the research we've been doing is just, it's hard to read because
Yeah.
we're living in such a free country, but in places like Russia or Saudi Arabia, it's just, if you like, just the word like spooks people, it scares
Yeah.
them.
And like even the study that reported all these statistics on bisexual people was in Canada. It was the Canadian Journal of Health or something to the effect of that. So it's just like, oh wow. Oh man. And like even in science, we get the short end of the stick.
No kidding.
Just like I'm gonna preface this by saying that a syndemic is the occurrence of at least two health conditions that an individual or population have that really reinforce the effects of each other. And like it would be like some of the things like mental illness and oppressive social conditions. It's kind of like that thing where you can't take certain drugs with alcohol because it makes the effects of both worse. and out of 166 studies within the search words syndemics, which is what that is, and bisexual, only 7 studies included sexual minority women, and only 6 of those studies listed bisexual women as an independent group. Just like,
no,
we are so underrepresented everywhere, even in medicine.
I mean, I think medicine, I thought, would be more interested in this minority, but they're not really.
I mean, for a lot of history, any type of homosexuality has been considered a sin or a mental illness. So, and like, it has kind of brought the consequence of suicide being a really big problem for a lot of sexual identities. Just a lot of this stuff is really hard to read, and a lot of studies having to do with STDs/STIs have to do with men, specifically gay men, and just like gay women and bisexual women get STDs and STIs too. Can we focus on that science?
Nope. I mean, they talked very minimally about like them having STDs, but it wasn't as in depth as in men, because they were on the article. They were saying that men were more prone to having it because of the way they have sex, and it's just, I don't.
This thing could probably be solved if we taught about gay sex in school, but
yeah, that doesn't happen at ASiR.
Yeah, that doesn't happen anywhere. I mean, it does happen in a few states, but there's no nationwide legislation on sex education yet. So basically, a lot of states, especially in the Bible Belt, get to preach misinformation about what sex is, and over half of states don't have to be medically accurate.
Oh my gosh, that's awful.
I
so
know.
Then we're just having...
And it's just like they wonder why the teen pregnancy rates are so high and why STD rates are so high. And it's just like, teach them how to do it. I mean, don't... you can teach them how to do it without encouraging it. Just like...
just knowing knowledge.
At least give them access to... give them access to safe materials and such. Just,